5 showdown. We've got cornerback Kenzel Lawler with us today and Eli Gillman. Eli was the Big Sky Offensive Co-Player of the Week this week after setting a personal best rushing yards record last week. Anyway, Coach Hauck, we'll start with you. Wrap up your thoughts on the win over Central Washington before looking ahead to North Dakota.
Thanks, Tabes. All right. Well, we're glad to be 1-0. It's always good to get that first one under your belt and find a way to win it. Thought we did a lot of good things in the game. Thought the guys' preparation was good. We handled the heat well. Didn't suffer from anything in that regard. Thought our tackling was good. Our run game was good. We played hard, so it was good to get the win. I think it's hard to blow a team out when they're bleeding the clock down like they did the entire game, and we did, in fact, blow them out. So that was good. And obviously after a first game in particular, there's things to address, and we'll do that. So on to North Dakota. They've got a new head coach in Eric Schmidt, but their DNA is still the same. He's a North Dakota guy, and they look like they're a very tough football team to me. They've changed some, particularly on the defensive side. But what hasn't changed is that they're really good up front on both sides of the ball. They're a physical team. They play hard. All those things are just who their football team is and who they have been. So that has carried on. I think the quarterback, Kaminsky, is played really well the first couple weeks of the season. He's been really good. Their kicking game's always great. Sean does a great job with their kicking game year in, year out, and this year's no different. They're really good at it. So all those things make this a really tough prep and a really tough opponent to get ready for. So should be a great test on Saturday.
Questions?
Coach, you mentioned just some of the changes in the defensive scheme. I know when Eric was the defensive coordinator, they were a lot of 3-man front, but it looks more like 4-man front now. Is that the biggest difference that you notice?
Well, there's not. I mean, you don't have a big cross section of games to eval. They have played more 4 down front the first 2 weeks of this season. Yeah. Then they have odd.
He favored bringing so much pressure in the past. Is that still, do you think, a key to their defensive scheme?
It kind of depends on down and distance.
Just the challenge of these guys in general. You mentioned that they like to control the ball just like you guys do as well. So how much do you think that part will be a key factor in this game?
Well, everybody wants to control the ball, but scoring points is what you have to do. I don't believe them to be a team like we just saw that's going to stay in the huddle and bleed it out. I don't think that's how they're going to play it. Now they might, but I don't think that's how they're going to play it. I mean, everybody wants to generate first downs. These guys are no different. They've done a nice job of that the first couple of weeks, and they've done it a multitude of ways.
Eli, another Player of the Week award for you. Just what's that mean to you, and what was it kind of like getting to run behind your offensive line on Saturday?
It's sweet. It just shows how hard my line and our whole offense has worked this whole offseason, coming out with a rush game like that. It's just sweet to see all of our guys working together and come out with a stat like that.
Eli, it's kind of a rare situation where it's a similar non-conference opponent that you have seen. So how nice is that? Because obviously you'll see this in conference, right? You'll see the same opponents every year. But is that to an advantage you guys might use, knowing that you have film on them from last year?
Yeah, it is. I mean, knowing we played them before, kind of got the vibe they give off. But again, we still have to prepare like we do with every other team. So we're going to prepare to win. And that's what we're going to do this week.
Coach Kaminsky, last year, or he's been on the team for a couple of years now and obviously earned the starting job. What kind of stood out about him, and what's, obviously taking him down to the wire at Kansas State, what stood out about his game?
Well, a couple things. think he's a Wisconsin kid, actually. He's not a local kid, if my memory serves me. But he looks like he's really prepared, not just week to week, but he looks like he's ready to go. He's just a sophomore, but he looks pretty veteran. He looks composed. He's run the ball well. He's been good in the RPO game in particular. He's hit passes downfield. So, seems to be accurate on the moves. So they've got a lot of different things they do with him, and he seems to be handling it all pretty well.
Kenzel, for you this last week, first start with the Grizzlies, and obviously, great second half, or great game as a whole, but obviously you guys shut them out in the second half. Just what was it like drawing that start and, seeing what the defense was able to do?
It was really fun. It was fun going out there with my brothers. We worked really hard in the off season, and just getting the opportunity for my coaches to go out there and just do my job and make the best of my opportunity was great.
Seeing you guys get a couple of those turnovers at pretty key moments too. What can you say about the guys in the secondary that you're working with? Coming up with big plays, and that third quarter one obviously ended up turning into points too.
Yeah, I'll just say that we show up in big moments. I felt like those were pivotal moments for Keon to be able to make that play and tip that back to Cade, and obviously Micah being able to catch that interception. I think that it was huge, and I'm just grateful to be able to play next to those guys.
Kenzel, they scored 35 against Kansas State, put up a lot of points last week. Just how excited are you for the challenge of a good offense coming to Missoula?
It's very exciting. Grateful for the opportunity to play against a really good team, and just can't wait to go out there and play against them.
You'll dive into them more throughout the week, but they had like 11 different guys catch a pass in the first week, 10 different guys last week. What's that like going against a team that's maybe spreads it out a little bit more as opposed to having one or two guys that take up the majority of the targets?
I think that it means that we just have to prepare that much more for our opponent. I think that we're going to have to come together as one unit and be able to show up when it matters most.
Eli, I know you're waiting all off season to play, right? And you have to sit that first week. So just to have that first touch and score, I guess, what's that like when you break through and just what's going through your head there?
It's sweet. I was, like you said, waiting. I felt like forever to play finally. And then, I got the ball the first touch, and all those guys did their job real well, so I had to go do mine as well. So, it was sweet. And then to have them all come down and celebrate, it's just awesome.
Obviously, it's a new year, new team. Same thing for North Dakota, but just remembering that game last year being up 24-7.5, letting it slip away, how anxious are you to kind of get another shot at them? Yeah,
it'll be sweet. It's nice going in with a little chip on your shoulder, for sure. But, we're definitely going to come back stronger than ever this week.
And then, Coach, kind of about the way they spread the targets around for you, what have you seen through the first couple weeks as far as the balance of that?
Well, the backs are catching quite a few passes. That shows up. And then, beyond that just means they're rolling people in at tight end, wide out.
Bobby, I want to ask you about the right side of your offensive line. Everett Johnson said when he came here, he was California soft, and now he's Montana tough. I'm sure at least one of you coaches told him that. How much of his progression in terms of toughness has allowed him to sort of secure a spot there at the right tackle?
Yeah, I love the question, actually, because Everett's the guy with he's got great size, he's got good ability. He's really worked hard in the weight room. He's very fit, probably more so than when he got here. Sometimes I worry he's getting too light because he's a big man, but he's under 300 pounds now, and he's probably 330 when he walked in. So he's moving around really well. And then, just more to the point, last week he played really well. By far the best he's played. So I was happy for him.
And Patrick sort of getting up there with that top group at the right guard spot. What have you liked out of him?
Well, I think, he's on the move too in terms of playing his best. He had played some in his college career, but not extensively. And so I think the more he gets to play, the better he's going to be. But Pat looks comfortable. He's a good guy in that group. I think he's popular in the O-line room with that group of guys. And he's got a good temperament for it. So, I think he's fitting in nicely.
Because he hasn't played in that many games, do you just in terms of on the offensive line, do you expect big jumps forward from him?
Well, I don't know, I don't know what to expect. I know what I hope for, which is exactly that. So I hope those guys keep coming along. I hope they can stay healthy and just kind of keep pushing the gas towards the floor. And as the season goes on, play better and better.
And Eli, looked like there was a couple nice seal blocks and a couple year-long runs, particularly from the tight ends. Can you just talk about their work in the run game and how much that helps you when it comes to busting those big runs?
Yeah, no, they're sweet. Like I trust those guys a lot when I see them coming around the formation. I know they're gonna go smack somebody, and I know I can fit in right behind them. Or like you said, if they seal it up, I can get right around them. It's nice having the linemen do their job, and then the tight ends do their job, and it's sweet having the receivers all do their job as well, blocking downfield. It makes my job a lot easier.
Bobby, on the offensive line, center was one position you guys rotated often. Why did you guys rotate Dylan and Cade there throughout the game, and how did each of those guys look to you?
I thought they both played well in the game, and mostly because it was hot out.
When you went back and watched the film, what stood out to you just about the offensive line as a unit?
They were on target. Thought their footwork was mostly good. There's some things in terms of LCVs and such that we need to handle a little better, which I mentioned that after the game.
Yeah, I was going to ask, after watching the film, what are some of the biggest things you want to see cleaned up in the second game?
Just keep working, keep improving.
Anybody else? Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.